Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music 10. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day, and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion of my Made in Canada episodes, I am bringing you part two of 10 favorite albums. Last week in part one, I brought you albums 10 through 6, and this week in part two of 10 favorite albums, you guessed it, I am bringing you albums 5 through 1. Now, in putting together this list, like I said last week, I could have come up with at least 20 albums of Canadian artists, but I decided to keep it simple and bring it down to 10. Now, this list, in looking at it, is quite eclectic. Most of these artists you will undoubtedly have heard of. Some you may not know as much or as well. I encourage you to check all these albums out on YouTube. You can listen to all these albums for free on YouTube. And once you do, please put down below your comments on these albums. Now, starting off, part two, coming in at number 5, I have Rush with their third release, Caress of Steel. Caress of Steel was released on September 24th, 1975, through Mercury Records in the US and through Anthem Entertainment, Rush's own label in Canada. Now, this is a follow-up release to Fly By Night, and again features their newest member at the time on drums, Neil Peart, who would go on to become their primary lyricist right from joining the band. Now, Caress of Steel is a bit of an outlier in the Rush catalog. Die-hard Rush fans will undoubtedly know about this album and will sing the praises of this album. I have sung the praises of this album in another episode called Is This Prague on this channel. Fly By Night saw the band dive into more intricate, lengthy compositions with songs like Bytor and the Snow Dog, and they would jump into the progressive rock arena full stop on this album. Um, it is a bit of an outlier in terms of the albums in the Rush catalog. Alex Lifeson said that he had played this album for Paul Stanley of Kiss, who the band had toured for at the time. They opened for the band on a number of dates. And Paul Stanley couldn't understand what they were going for with this album. But the band were determined to do more complex, intricate, lengthy compositions, and they succeeded with this album. I think this album is simply fantastic. Starts off with Bastille Day, uh, intricate guitar passages from Alex Lifeson, intricate drumming from Neil Peart, unmistakable vocal delivery from Geddy Lee. This track is also featured on their double greatest hits compilation, Chronicles from 1990. Sorry. Uh, the next track on the album, I Think I'm Going Bald, was a direct response to the track Going Blind from Kiss from Harder Than Hell. It's a tongue-in-cheek track, tongue firmly planted in cheek. Very, very, I don't want to say silly, but just a very comical type of track. Track 3, Lakeside Park, clocking in at 4 minutes and 9 seconds, is beautiful, very atmospheric, very emotional. Again, beautiful, intricate guitar, again from Alex Lifeson. This tells the story of an individual reliving his memories of being a kid in Toronto, or any, I'm picking Toronto because the band's from Toronto, or any city, like just remembering summers, going for picnics with his family and his friends, playing at the park, memories of like fireworks on Victoria Day weekend, or Canada Day weekend, or just any holiday that would require you to enjoy your time with your family and your friends. And this track really does bring back memories for me of those times when, being a kid. Very emotional track for me, the older I get. Beautifully done. Track 4, we dive into the first of two epics. I call this a mini epic, clocking in at 12 minutes and 28 seconds. The Necromancer. Beautifully done, divided into three parts: Into the Darkness, Under the Shadow, and Return of the Prince. Wonderfully done. intricate in its delivery and arrangement. Wonderful guitar work from Alex Lifeson, beautiful bass work from Geddy Lee. And I did fail to mention Geddy Lee has always stated that Chris Squire from Yes is one of his favorite bass players. And this, it comes through on this album. Side two, you have the mammoth, The Fountain of Lamnath, at 19 minutes and 57 seconds, just shy of 20 minutes, taking up all of side two, divided into six parts. In the Valley, Didax and Narpitz, No One at the Bridge, Panacea, if I say that wrong, I'm sorry, Bacchus Plateau, and The Fountain. Again, very, very intricate, very layered. In terms of understanding what the meaning behind it is in terms of the storyline, you really just have to sit and listen to it. For me, this album is an underdog. It is fantastic. At 45 minutes and 4 seconds, again, it packs a hell of a punch. And I'm guilty of always saying that I like albums that take you on journeys. And this is one of them. It is simply fantastic. That's number five. Coming in at number four, and I said this list is eclectic. We have Bare Naked Ladies with Maroon, their fifth release, released on September 12th, 2000 through Reprise Records, produced by Don Was, who also has worked with Bob Dylan, the Stones, just to name two. This is the follow-up release to their 1998 album Stunt, which was their mega seller breakthrough album in the US, selling 3 million copies. Um, the album has a playing time of 52 minutes and 9 seconds. 13 tracks. There are 12 known tracks on the album. There's a hidden track from newest member at the time, Kevin Hearn, called Hidden Sun. Uh, this album, to me, is pop confection. And this is when the band broke away also from the comedy rock that they were labeled with their debut release, Gordon. Just beautifully done. It starts off with Too Little Too Late, one of the singles from the album. Great guitar chords from Ed Robertson. Uh, fantastic melody, catchy chorus, the use of hand claps during the chorus to sort of hold it together. Stephen Page is on vocals at this time, and Stephen Page has a very unique vocal delivery and very unique voice, in my very humble opinion. I think he's fantastic. Other songs to note are the lead off single, Pinch Me, beautifully done. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Ed Robertson's ability to do verses in a rap style. Very intricate, very locked in verses in terms of his delivery. Amazing. And the track basically talks about this individual who, you know, someone who could change his life in what he's doing, but you know what? He's happy with where he is in his life and what he's doing. I think it's fantastic. Just fantastic. Other songs to note are Falling for the First Time, another single from the album with Ed Robertson on lead vocals. Beautiful track, just very fast-paced. Great guitar work from Stephen Page on the choruses, just wonderfully done. Other songs are known on the album, Conventioneers, uh, 3 minutes and 43 seconds. Stephen Page on lead vocals. This is where they go into more of a soulful R&B vein on the track. Very seductive, very laid back vocal delivery from Stephen Page, but it's almost like he's standing right up to the mic and delivering the vocal in a very subtle but seductive style. Fantastic drumming on this track, on the whole album from Tyler Stewart, but beautiful, just beautiful. More songs to mention on the album. Sell, 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 the next track, track seven, at 4 minutes and 1 second. This is where they dive into a different territory musically. They go into a tango format in terms of this track. The drumming is done in a compound quintuple meter, which is a 15/8 time signature, which is a tango time signature. Um, Stephen Page is on lead vocals for this, and it tells the story of an actor who, over the years, is finding different mediums in order to get his self known and his self presented to people, whether it be film, television, stage, infomercials, books, whatever you want, in terms of trying to get himself known and out there and promoted. And it's done very wonderfully, beautifully delivered, executed wonderfully. There is a sense of tension as at the end, when the lines are sung in the verses, and when you approach the end of the line of a verse, it's Stephen Page's delivery just sort of intensifies on the vocal, and it's done wonderfully. Other songs I know, there's two more songs to mention. Baby Seat, a co-write between Stephen Page and Stephen Duffy, British singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, original member of Duran Duran, as I mentioned before. The drumming on this track is simply stellar. Very deliberate, measured drumming on this from Tyler Stewart, and Stephen Page again is on lead vocals for this. And when they go into the chorus, he just delivers a powerful, full-throated vocal on the choruses that is just wonderfully done, very passionately done, very forceful, very commanding. Uh, the last track to talk about on this album is Tonight is the Night I Fell Asleep at the Wheel at 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Mother Lover, what a story to tell. About an individual on the way home from a night out, and he nods off for briefly and he crashes his car. And before he realizes it, he's dead. His spirit is traveling above him, above his body, planted against the roof of the car, the inside of the roof of the car, looking down on his body, and he realizes it's too late. I can't go back. I'm dead. I'm done. You know, a split second mistake, and his life is over. Uh, it's a morbid topic to talk about, but it's delivered beautifully vocally, and the arrangement of the song is just wonderful, wonderful. Um, I'm guilty of being uh, I'm sorry, coming to the party late for Bare Naked Ladies, and I kick myself for that because I think that Bare Naked Ladies are a fantastic group. And I did, as part of the Made in Canada series of episodes, I did a two-part ranking the albums of all 14 studio albums from the band. So you really should check that out. It's fantastic. This album is great. That's number four. Coming in at number three, we have Joni Mitchell with Hijira, released November 21st, 1976, through Asylum Records. Hijira is a word that means to depart or departure. This is Joni Mitchell's follow-up release to her 1975 album, The Hissing of Summer Lawns. Uh, this album, nine tracks in total, with a playing time of 51 minutes and 54 seconds. Lengthier compositions, more intricate. This is where Joni Mitchell goes into more of it's listed as folk jazz or jazz fusion. This is where Joni Mitchell really does go into the jazz fusion arena of music, full throttle. Contributions on this album are, musically, come from Jaco Pastorius on fretless bass, just amazingly done. Also, Larry Carlton on guitar on some tracks. Neil Young provides harmonica on track three, but this album overall, the lead off track is the one and only single from the album, Coyote, and it basically talks about someone who's pretty much a playboy, and he wants to be free, but wants his cake and he wants to eat it too, kind of thing. And the musicality on this album and the playing on this album is simply bloody stellar. Other songs of note are Emilia, my favorite track, at 6 minutes and 2 seconds, track two on the album. Beautiful, ethereal vocal delivery, in my opinion. Very breathless, very uh, effortless, and she nails it on this track. The guitar work is simply sublime, very subtle, very intricate, but there's a lot of space in the playing on this track, which is what I love. This is my favorite Joni Mitchell album overall. I've started collecting Joni Mitchell albums like Hissing of Summer Lawns and Court and Spark, Blue, Hejira. Hejira is my favorite, bar none. Other songs of note are the title track, um, Song for Sharon, which is simply great. Uh, Black Crow at 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Uh, Blue Motel Room at 5 minutes and 4 seconds. Out of all the tracks on this album, this track is more in the traditional jazz style. Like you can imagine just someone playing this in a piano bar, playing an upright bass, acoustic upright bass, and just going for it. It's very swing oriented in terms of the mood of the track. It ends with the beautiful Refuge of the Roads. And this album was inspired by three road trips that Joni Mitchell had taken between late 75 and early 76, and her experiences on the road during these trips. And unfortunately, this album, although it did achieve gold status in the US and in North America, it never really got a lot of attention in terms of radio airplay, which is unfortunate because it's a fantastic album. You know, coming in at number two, I have Del Bello with Human Forces. I have talked about Lisa Del Bello on this channel a lot, and I have said, along with another band that it's on this list, that she is Canada's best kept secret. This is her fourth release, her second for Capitol Records, produced by Lisa Del and one Mick Ronson, who contacted her after seeing her on a CBC television documentary and basically said, I think we should do some work together. Now, this is a follow-up release to her third release, Drastic Measures, released in 1981, album produced by Bob Esty. After the disappointment of the album of Drastic Measures, Del took a step back from the limelight and wanted to reassess what she wanted to do with her career and reassess how she wanted to present herself in terms of an artist. In that time, she did sing the theme song for The Sins of Dorian Gray, which was a ABC television movie of the week, which came out in 83 or 82. I do believe she did some television work in between, but she came back with Who Man For Says, 9 tracks in total, beautifully done, more of a harder edge type of art rock, art pop vein. I would say more art rock than art pop. 9 tracks in total. Starts off with the track Gonna Get Close to You. Very eerie, very ominous track. There's a lot of space in the playing with the drums and the keyboards. This track would be covered by Queensryche on their 1986 release, Rage to Order. Beautifully done, but again, I prefer the original. Other songs in note on the album are Devious Nature, which talks about, women's so-called place in society, being a dutiful wife, and do you still want to be a dutiful wife, or do you want to be your own person? Other songs in note are She Pretends, which carries on the role, the perceived role of women in society. Wait for an Answer, beautiful emotional delivery on the vocal from Lisa Del. Wait for an Answer would be covered by Heart on their 1987 album Bad Animals. Other songs of note are Animal, starts off side two, featuring one Carol Pope from Rough Trade on co-lead vocals. And that track is very primal in its vocal delivery and has a marching time kind of a rhythm to it on the drums. Very rhythmic, very percussive. And the lyrics on that track are basically saying, We may come from different countries, different ethnic backgrounds, different lifestyles, but at the root of it all, we are still human beings. We are still animals. We are one of the same. And I like the fact that she uses French in the verses or in the choruses. Other songs of note on Woman Forces or Human Forces, uh, Cardinal Sin, which attacks the belief or the doctrine of the Catholic Church and her doubts about their sincerity and what they're promoting in terms of acceptance of human beings. Path of Least Resistance talks about incest and rape of children, and it's gut wrenching. The album ends off with "Target, My Eyes Are Aimed at You," and the lengthiest track in the album, 6 minutes and 30 seconds, or something, 6 minutes and a few seconds after, just beautifully done. Treated vocals, but very poignant. And basically, this is about a woman that's saying, "You think you've got the best of me and that you're going to get the better of me in the end, but you're not. I know your game. I know what you're doing. I know where you're coming from emotionally, psychologically, and you've already lost because anything that you're going to try and do to me, I've already done to you tenfold. Move on." It's beautiful. This album, I cannot sing enough of the praises for it. It is bloody amazing. It is. It really and truly is. You need to check it out. And it's unfortunate that Del Bello has retired from recording. She is a treasure. She really is. She's a force to be reckoned with. And she deserves more credit and more praise than what she's gotten over the years. But, anyways, moving on. Coming in at number one on my 10 favorite albums, we have The Tea Party with Transmission. Their third major label release, fourth release overall, released August 19th, 1997, through EMI Canada and in Canada, and through Atlantic Records in the US. Their one and only release for Atlantic Records. Playing time of 49 minutes and 34 seconds, 11 tracks in total. Holy shit. Amazing. The follow-up release to their sophomore album, The Edges of Twilight, which came out in 1995, through Chrysalis Records in the US and in Europe, again through EMI in Canada. Now, this album is a powerhouse. There are five singles released from the album. This album moves away from the more blues-oriented rock that they had on Edges of Twilight. It still incorporates the East Indian, Middle Eastern influence on their compositions, but goes into more of electronic industrial vein. Not overly so. It doesn't take the industrial vibe on the album does not in any way, shape, form, or fashion take away from the heaviness, the hard rock elements that are on the album. Again, there are five singles from the album: Temptation, Psychopomp, Gyroscope, Release, and Babylon. Now, it starts off with Temptation at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Just amazing. Heavy as all get out. Uh, Beautiful drumming from Jeff Burrows. The production on this album from Jeff Martin, who has produced, sorry, all of the Tea Party albums, aside from Edges of Twilight, who co-produced that with Ed Stasian. The production that Jeff Martin does for the Tea Party is just stellar. Heavy as all get out. A full, rich drum sound on the snare and the drums overall, but a really good, full, rounded snare drum sound on the tracks. Other songs to note on the album: Army Ants, amazing guitar work, beautifully executed, heavy as all get out. aggressive, guttural vocal delivery from Jeff Martin on this. Amazing. Psychopomp at 5 minutes and 17 seconds. Beautifully done. Wonderfully executed. Gyroscope, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Powerful, impactful, just amazingly done. Heavy drumming galore, just all over the place on this album. Other songs of note are the another single release, which at 4 minutes and 5 seconds is wonderful. Written by Jeff Martin, and he was inspired to write this after watching a CNN news story about the inhumane treatment by women in certain countries, East Indian countries, whatever. Just amazingly done. The band, the Tea Party, teamed up with the White Ribbon Campaign, and the White Ribbon Campaign is an organization that it's basically men against violence against women, and all the proceeds from this single went to the White Ribbon Campaign. Other songs of note are well, basically the premise of release is the individual in the song saying, I'm not who you think I am. If I stay with you, if we stay together, you will be hurt in some shape, form, or fashion. I'm no good for you. You need to move on. As much as I love you, I can't do this anymore to you, and I won't. So it's very emotional. It's very emotional. Other songs of note on this album, the title track, Transmission, just brutal. And it's, the Middle Eastern influences on this are like the instrumentation is just fantastic. And that's another thing what the Tea Party are famous for. They are famous for learning different instrumentation, different uses of like different instruments, uh, Middle Eastern instruments for their albums to implement into their music to make it sound more authentic. And instead of hiring outside musicians to do the instrumentation, they just learn the instruments themselves. They're multi-instrumentalists, and they are brilliant when they do it on their albums. Other songs of note are Babylon, another single from the album, which 2 minutes and 50 seconds, powerful it is all get out. This is where the industrial element also comes into play. Again, not overly so, uh, but it's brilliant. If you want to, you can look up the video for Babylon on YouTube, and it's one shot video. It's a video that was done in one shot. Everything going on that's in the video, the camera is panning around and you're catching it live, like in live time kind of thing, like right on the spot. And it was done in a warehouse in Toronto. Beautifully done, beautifully done. Other songs of note on the album are Emerald, track 10, which is my favorite song on the album. And basically, this is a song that is speaking to the individuals that feel like they're on the fringes of society, the disenfranchised, feeling like that they don't belong. Heavy drumming on this, beautiful, beautifully executed, wonderfully arranged, fantastic guitar work, a lot of use of panning of electric guitars on the solos in terms of the choruses for the guitars that come in. Amazingly done, heavy as all get out, but emotionally charged and very impactful. Very impactful. So there you have it, guys. My 10 favorite albums as part of the Made in Canada series. Again, some of these albums you may know, well, obviously you will know, and some of them you may not know too much about. So please check them out on YouTube. Again, you can stream them again for free on YouTube. I can't speak today for some reason. And yeah, please put down the comments below your opinion of these albums. And, maybe if you know more about these albums, maybe let me know information that I didn't know about. Again, I've never claimed to be a music expert. I'm just trying to bring you information and albums that I think you should listen to and get to know. And, if you've discovered something new musically, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I've always said once you believe that you know all there is to know about music, uh, and you don't need to listen to any more new music, you might as well just hang it up and go fishing or something. Just call it a day. Music for me is about discovery. It's about enjoy, enjoying what you're listening to. It's about escape at times. And it's wonderful. It is wonderful. So please again, click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. And I am doing more shows with Jim Bricker, Ken Cheshire, Sagosh, and yes, the ever elusive Bill Schuster is going to be coming back. And yeah, um, we're having a great time doing these episodes. And again, please let me know your comment on these albums that I've talked about and any show that comes up on the Music Den. So please look after yourselves and each other, and I will see you soon on the Music Den. Bye for now.